As always, it's been a crazy week in AI. There's a new model from OpenAI that they barely even announced. Elon Musk's XAI and Grok and Twitter, whatever you want to say, they released a new model. And researchers are trying to tackle online AI deception in a kind of troubling way. So, we're going to be going over that today and more on Everyday AI. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and I'm the host of Everyday AI, and this show is for you. We are your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday people learn and leverage generative AI to grow their companies and their careers. So, almost every single Monday, we do the AI news that matters, right? Because you can spend hours, literally hours every single day, trying to keep up with what's going on in the world of AI. All these companies creating new models, all of these, businesses, how they're using it, right? You could be overwhelmed trying to keep up, or you could just let us do all the work. This is what we do literally every day. And then most Mondays, we bring you the AI news that matters. We tell you what's going on and what you should be focusing on. So not just, hey, here's what's in the rear view mirror, but here's what's ahead. So if that sounds helpful to you, and if you haven't already, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com and sign up for the free daily newsletter because yes, we do this every single day. And in our newsletter, not only do you get the latest news and AI tools and all of that, but also exclusive insights that you literally will not find anywhere else. So make sure if you haven't, go sign up for the free daily newsletter at youreverydayai.com. And while you're there, go ahead and enter our Thanks a Million giveaway to celebrate Everyday AI's a million downloads. We got some great prizes going. So go sign up, refer a friend. You'll get a unique referral code in there and enter into our giveaway. If you haven't already, we're going to be giving away a year-long subscription to ChatGPT or your favorite kind of large language model, as well as some consulting time with us and probably some other prizes too. So make sure you keep an eye out on that. All right. With that, let's get into what's going on in the world of AI and the news that matters to you for the week of August 19th. Summer's almost over, y'all. So sad. All right. And hey, thanks for all our live stream audience, as always, for tuning in. Brian, Marie, Rolando, Chris, Cecilia. Got a lot of y'all here. Joe and Woozy. Thank y'all. But yeah, let me know as we go along. Would love to hear your thoughts on some of these stories as well. So let's start at the top. So Grok-2 has been launched. So the release of Grok-2 and Grok-2 Mini marks a pivotal moment in artificial intelligence, showcasing substantial improvements in reasoning and performance benchmarks. So Grok-2 is from XAI, Elon Musk's AI company. And it is, and when I say X or XAI, I know it's confusing. We're talking about Twitter. So many people I know still don't understand that Twitter changed its name. So X and XAI, Elon Musk companies now. So Grok 2 is now released inside of the X, or the formerly known as Twitter platform. So Grok is trying to position itself as a leader in the competitive AI landscape, particularly for users engaged in chats, coding, and complex reasoning tasks. So Grok 2 has already surpassed some existing models in competitive benchmarks, receiving pretty good scores across some common benchmark kind of scores there. So in the general knowledge benchmark, Grok 2 scored an 87.5, slightly ahead of the old GPT-4 Turbo. So yeah, if you're looking for kind of a benchmark amongst benchmarks, right? So obviously GPT-4 Turbo from OpenAI is a pretty old model by now, but that's about where Grok 2 is kind of landing in the grand scheme of things. So not bad, but one of the more headline grabbing aspects of Grok 2 right now is actually not even part of Grok. So it's actually its integration into the third-party open source image generator, Flux One. So Flux One has actually taken kind of the AI world by storm after being released a couple of weeks ago. A very capable AI image generator, right? So I'd say already it's on the playing field. It's not quite as good as Midjourney, but it is really good and it is open source. So that is actually what X or Twitter or Grok or whatever you want to call it is using for its online image generation, and that is important. We're going to be talking about some other news stories that have to deal with Flux One. So Flux One is an AI image generator developed by former Stability AI developers. It's also important to know that right now, Grok-2 is available for premium users on X. And there's also multiple tiers to this, but I believe for the baseline $7 or $8 a month, depending on if you're paying monthly or yearly, you do get access to Grok 2. So in terms of, I don't believe it is available for free users right now. But in terms of a paid monthly subscription, Grok is the cheapest, right, compared to the normal $20 to $30 a month from other kind of players out there. ChatGPT's premium product, Google Gemini's advanced. Same thing with Claude, Perplexity, etc. So normally you're looking in the $20 to $30 a month range to use kind of the most sophisticated large language models. So Grok right now competing on price, but there's some downsides. Although, yes, it did get some great benchmarks on certain scores. So we tested Grok last week, and let me know if you want to see that video. Maybe we can share it again in today's newsletter. But we found two things that were a little problematic, right? So let me just be honest, right? Normally we just bring you the news, but I might sprinkle in a little opinion this week, feeling spicy. I've said for a long time, Grok is not a serious model, mainly for one reason. It's one of its main competitive advantages that it talks about is it's trained on, on X data, or it's trained on Twitter data, which is extremely problematic. This is why, right? So companies pay us a lot of money to consult them, right? To say, hey, Jordan team, tell us what we should be doing. I will never tell a company to use the Grok model. Here's why. For that very reason, it is trained off of X data and many times in real time. And that's a bad move for any AI company, right? Because of, unfortunately, so much, misinformation and disinformation on all social media networks, right? I'm not just talking about X, but I think X is maybe worse than others. And also, here's kind of a couple of the gripes about Grok, right? Two big things that I didn't see really anyone else talking about, because yes, it got some impressive benchmarks that put it kind of in the top 5 of models out there. So pretty impressive, like I said, in general benchmarks. But two of the main advantages of Grok: real-time data from X, which is actually a bad thing, right? It can be a bad thing because then, you might just be using its outputs without really checking the source or maybe even knowing the source, which is problematic. The other thing, it actually didn't do a great job in our initial testing on accurately bringing in information from in real time from X. So, we tested that. Another kind of fatal flaw is it has some problems going in a loop. So if you, as an example, let's say you want to summarize a web page, right? And it's a long web page. You can copy all the text, paste it into Grok and say, summarize this. And essentially, you're going to get a weird message from Grok, something that says, this is too long. I can't do anything with it. So you might think, okay, that's fine. I'm going to move on. And then you say something to Grok like, I don't know, give me a blog post outline. But actually what happens, and we still tested this over the weekend, I don't know if the QA team over there from XAI is aware of this. It actually gets caught in a cycle. So you can't continue to have a conversation in that chat, right? So if you say, hey, generate me a blog post outline on the advantages of EV vehicles, it's still going to give you an error message that you don't really know is an error message from the message before. A very basic flaw and a huge flaw, because unless you actually are pretty good with large language models, but the average user is just going to think the thing is broke, not knowing, oh, I need to exit out of this chat, go start a new chat, and then Grok will continue to work. So a very elementary and pretty big flaw there for Grok. So, like I said, the pros, it's doing pretty well on some general benchmarks, doing surprisingly well, better than I thought it would, but it has some problems. So, make sure, if you want more kind of Grok reviews or news from us, let us know. And I'm curious, has anyone here in the live stream been using Grok yet? So Penelope here says she hasn't learned a lot about it yet. So, all right, let's go on to our next piece of AI news. And this one, I don't know if troubling is the right word. It might be. Maybe it's needed, but let's talk about it. So, OpenAI researchers and researchers from other companies have proposed a personhood credentials to combat online AI deception. So, OpenAI researchers, as well as researchers from Microsoft, MIT, Harvard, etc. I mean, it's a who's who list of researchers here. So, for more than 15 organizations, have published a pretty significant paper aimed at tackling the issue of online AI deception. So, this research highlights the challenges posed by the increasing presence of AI systems that can mimic human behavior on the internet. All right. And if you caught our show Friday, we talked about this, and I'll go into a little bit of what happened Thursday that I have to think these two things are related. Anyways, so the paper introduces the concept of personhood credentials, which are designed to serve as digital ID cards. So these credentials would allow for the verification of real humans online without compromising their privacy. By implementing this system, researchers hope to create a more trustworthy online environment where the authenticity of users can be confirmed. The primary goal of these personhood credentials, which I believe are being abbreviated as PHCs, is to reduce the prevalence of fake accounts and bot attacks, which have become rampant on various social media platforms and online communities. These malicious entities can distort public discourse, spread misinformation, and undermine trust in digital interactions. So, in addition to verifying human identities, the initiative aims to ensure that AI systems are clearly identified as non human entities. This clarity is crucial in maintaining transparency in online communities, especially as AI technology continues to advance and integrate into everyday interactions. That is the part that is important there, because you might be saying, okay, Jordan, like if I'm talking to an AI, I probably know, right? Like I'm going to, Chat GPT or Gemini or Claude, right? Or an AI image generator, Midjourney or Runway, right? You might say, oh, I know if I'm talking to an AI because I am seeking it out. Not really, right? So obviously there are, studies say a certain percentage, on Twitter or something like that of bot accounts, right? Bot accounts, many of them are powered by AI, right? And they're kind of systems that are built to autonomously, have a certain message or a certain outcome or a certain goal, right? Where I think a lot of times, when you think of bot accounts online and on social media, you might not think of them as very sophisticated, right? They would essentially have a series of pre-programmed messages and then potentially using something called spin tags. All right. So let's just tell you what that is very simply, right? So bot accounts generally would have the same, 10 to 20 messages that they would copy and paste, not really being able to understand the discourse that's going on. Right. And then, kind of with spin tags, essentially swapping out, different words or different phrases. So it wasn't as noticeable. Right. So here's the thing with AI and where we're at now. Now, AI systems can very easily understand the context of a conversation, right? They can see what other people are saying, what's not being said, and find conversations where they can, insert their misinformation or disinformation for a certain purpose. And I think this is actually a much larger problem than anyone realizes, which is why I think some of the smartest researchers in the world, like I said, it's OpenAI, it's Microsoft, it's Harvard, it's MIT. It is literally the who's who of academia in big research companies that have come together for this paper, suggesting these personhood credentials. And let me just tell you this, I'm not saying this stems from, but the timing was very weird to me, right? This came out Thursday night. At the same time, roughly, the internet was kind of exploding from this kind of experiment, maybe, but there's essentially a couple different accounts on Twitter that people said, oh, these seem like they are either, a new model from OpenAI, or maybe they are a hybrid of a bot and a person, right? But very advanced. Could they be actual people? Yeah, they could. Could it be people masquerading as AI, as weird as that sounds? That's been some of the allegations, but it could also be AI masquerading as humans. And I think it's important for people to understand this. We're going to be talking about this probably more than often in the coming months, especially with the US election, because I think the US election is going to be a lot of people's first interaction with AI misinformation or AI disinformation. It's literally already out there. We're going to be talking about it. There's more news from a presidential candidate over the weekend using these tactics. So I think it is an important conversation for us to have, right? Regardless of your interest in it or not. Because think, I'd say scams, right? Phishing scams, these scams when you get an email, they haven't been super sophisticated in decades past, but now the ability to instantly clone a voice with digital avatars, with these kind of now these bots, right? When you can literally have millions of these bots that can go out autonomously, understand what's going on, in certain internet discourse and steer it one way and also interact with each other in coordination, right? It's actually kind of scary, the capabilities that are happening right now, which I think why it's important to talk about it. So a pretty big piece of news there from that new research paper that was released. And we will be releasing that research paper. So yeah, Penelope here asking, sounds like a strange way forward that we have to confirm we are human. Yeah, it is. Again, this is just something researchers have suggested, right? This isn't happening anytime soon. I actually think, especially here in the US, for something like this to roll out, it will take a while. I think first we would probably see something like this maybe roll out at a social media level in the same way that you can verify yourself on certain social media. Like as an example, I know LinkedIn has a way that you can do that, and you do have to upload, as an example, to be quote unquote verified. You have to upload an example of a state ID, a driver's license, something like that. So this is kind of a different approach that is maybe more universal for being used online. But yeah, I do think that we are probably going to see in the near future, at least social media companies, being a little more strict about human verification. All right. Next piece of AI news, World Labs has achieved unicorn status in just 4 months with a $100 million funding round. So World Labs is a stealthy startup founded by renowned Stanford AI professor Fifi Lee, and it has rapidly gained attention by raising a very significant amount of funding within a short time frame. So yes, World Labs has secured a $100 million funding round, valuing the company at over $1 billion. So yes, already achieving unicorn status. So the latest round was led by NEA and follows an earlier financing round in April that valued the company at $200 million. So notable investors from the first round included Andersen Horowitz. I'm terrible at pronouncing things, y'all. And Radical Ventures, where Fifi Lee serves as a scientific partner. So the startup aims to develop AI models capable of accurately estimating the three-dimensional characteristics of real-world objects and environments, which could revolutionize digital replication without extensive data collection. Lee is often referred to as the godmother of AI, and she highlighted the challenges of acquiring three-dimensional data, which is crucial for various applications, including gaming and robotics. And many people in the AI sphere are saying that this is one of the biggest remaining hurdles to achieving what is commonly, AGI, or artificial general intelligence. That's essentially when all these AI models are smarter than all of us, right? So a big kind of hang up or roadblock or hurdle, depending on what your viewpoint on the matter is understanding how different objects interact in a 3D world, right? In a real world. So that is one of the issues that this new startup venture is looking to tackle. So the startup's innovative approach addresses that significant gap in available three-dimensional data, which is currently collected mostly through costly methods by autonomous vehicle companies. So yeah, the way to get this data right now is not very accurate. It's extremely time consuming. So which is why I think there's a lot of hype and money in this new World Labs venture from Fifi Lee. All right. So let's get on to our next story. So, yes. And y'all, let me just say this, please. I don't know why. I got so many messages, saying, oh, Jordan, you're being political. I'm not being political here. Let me just put this out, right? I'm stating facts. Okay. So, facts. Ready? Here's facts. So, former President Donald Trump is continuing to use AI in his campaign strategy. Donald Trump, so former President Trump, has ignited a debate by utilizing artificial intelligence to promote a misleading campaign claiming support from Taylor Swift's fans, coinciding with the Democratic National Convention that is kicking off today. So the incident highlights the increasing intersection of AI and politics, raising questions about authenticity in political endorsements. So Trump posted some images that our live stream audience can see here on our stream, posted these images on his Truth Social platform, suggesting that Taylor Swift fans, known as Swifties, are endorsing his presidential campaign, despite Swift being a Democrat. Also, a clearly AI generated image of Taylor Swift pointing that says, Taylor wants you to vote for Trump. So even some of Trump's long-term supporters, such as Lindsey Graham, a Republican ally of Trump, has warned that his provocative tactics could jeopardize his chances in the upcoming election against Kamala Harris, urging him to focus on policy discussions instead of personal attacks via AI. So the latest AI-powered post from Trump follows a slew of other uses and misuses of AI. Yes, this was not it. Just there's been a lot. So also over the weekend, Trump posted an AI generated image on Twitter referencing his opponent, Kamala Harris, speaking at the Democratic National Convention. Here's the thing. The AI image depicted Harris was speaking at a communist rally. That's not it. There's been more this week. So last week, Trump also spread some false claims that an image of a large crowd waiting for Kamala Harris at an airport was manipulated using AI. However, reporters and Harris's campaign and attendees that had other video and photos confirmed that the crowd was real. So y'all, please don't come at me with hate messages, right? Because this is just facts, okay? And here's the thing. I'm not getting political with the Everyday AI show. This, whether you like it or not, this is going to continue to happen, all right? We are going to continue, and I do assume that we're going to see it from both sides of the political spectrum, right? Because if Kamala Harris or her staff, as an example, put out similar, misinformation or, was using, as an example, I know that, Kid Rock is a celebrity that is often, tied to, Donald Trump. So if, Kamala Harris did an AI image of Kid Rock encouraging people to vote for her, we would be reporting it, right? That's using AI in a way that is dishonest and using it in a way that is misinformation or disinformation. So we are not getting political here, but this is going to continue to happen as we ramp up, right? So I've been saying this for literally more than a year. I said the third quarter of 2024, politics are going to get swarmed by AI. And the reason why it's important to think about it, regardless of your political affiliation, is candidates from both sides of the aisle are going to be using AI to influence people. to put it out there as misinformation. So we've already seen at least the FTC here in the U.S., the Federal Trade Commission, try to clamp down on some of these use cases. But I mean, you're seeing robocalls, both sides of the aisle, people duplicating voices without authorization. I mean, we're going to see a lot of these AI images as these models get better, right? Here's the reality. These images are not even that great, right? With some proper prompting, these images could be even more quote unquote convincing. So you do have to be, and this goes out to everyone, regardless of your political affiliation, you have to be very careful, especially here in the US and abroad. I know that there's a lot of elections going on, in the latter part of the year. You have to be extremely careful about what you believe, the things that you're reading, right? Because unfortunately, sometimes these AI powered campaigns can be convincing, and you're going to have news agencies that may not know any better start reporting on them. So please, y'all, if you're listening here, you have to be extremely careful. AI misinformation, disinformation, even taking now these photos, right? Taking these photos that are pretty good. I do wish, we talked about this earlier. These images presumably came from either Midjourney or from the new Flux One kind of AI image generator inside of Twitter. So these capabilities now are going to more and more people. The tech, quote unquote, tech learning curve is very low, right? You can literally just put in a very simple sentence and get a pretty decent photo, right? But as people get better at using these, and then you can turn these photos obviously into videos as well with other programs, it is going to be very hard to understand what's real and what's not. So everyone, please, before you see anything online, make sure, go through in your mind, is this real? Is this not? Look it up before you share with your friends, your family, before you even talk about it, right? You unfortunately you have to independently verify information, especially when it comes to politics here in the US. All right. Our last piece of AI news. ChatGPT has taken back the lead as the most powerful AI chatbot. All right. So the ongoing competition among AI companies and AI chatbots has intensified, with OpenAI's latest version of ChatGPT 4.0 reclaiming the top spot in the LMSYS chatbot arena in the performance benchmarks. So this development highlights some significant advancements in AI technology and its implication for users and developers alike. So yes, last week we actually got a new updated model from OpenAI, and I would say it's actually pretty significant. And if you are, a daily AI user like myself, you've probably noticed the improvements. All right, but pretty interesting here, because OpenAI, really all they did was send out a single tweet or a single X, whatever you want to say. That's all they did, right? So generally, they would have maybe an event, an announcement, a couple press releases, nothing here. So yeah, we did not see a GPT-5. There's been all these rumors, Project Strawberry. We didn't see anything official last week. We saw a quiet, under the radar, but very impressive update from OpenAI. So if you follow model numbers, this though is where it gets a little tricky. So this new model is essentially called GPT 4.0-latest. So OpenAI on their developer account essentially said that they are going to continue to make updates to ChatGPT, and it will just be called -latest. All right. So little confusing there, but I mean, the scores here were extremely impressive. So we talk about this a lot here on the Everyday AI Show. So essentially in the chatbot arena, you can put in a prompt. So there's something called Battleground. And if you haven't done this already, y'all, I encourage you to do it, because not only is it going to help you understand models a little bit better, but it's ultimately going to help you improve your prompting skills, your prompt engineering skills. So you can go in, put in a query, and you get a side-by-side, right? And you get two outputs from two different models. They are unnamed until you vote for which one is better. after you vote, you get to see which ones the models are. And that is one of the mechanisms that goes into this ELO score, right? So similar to, a chess ELO score, all of these models have ELO scores in the chatbot arena. So the new model from OpenAI has an ELO score now that is more than 30 points. It is more than 30. Actually, let me do the math here. 10, 20. All right. So it's about 20. No, sorry. 18 points. 18 points, y'all. I do this live. It's unedited, unscripted. I thought it was nearly 30 points. So it is about 18 points ahead of the next closest model. All right. Which is a huge gap. I cannot emphasize that enough. So generally, right? So as an example, we saw Google release a new updated version of their model, which, by the way, is not available on the front end. It's only available on the back end for developers or people using it inside of their AI studio. So when Google essentially announced Gemini 1.5 Pro, and this version was called 0801, which came out on August 1st, right? It took the lead temporarily, but only by a couple points. It only went ahead by about 10 points at the time. So pretty significant update here from OpenAI. And I think this is something you have to keep an eye on, right? I tell people, right? Go into the chatbot arena, right? Because not depending on your use case, depending on what you need a large language model for, it's not one size fits all for everyone, right? Depending on what you need it for, there's different, you might need it to help with coding. You might need it to help with brainstorming, idea generation. You might need it to help with content writing. You might need it to help with data analysis, etc. Right? So yes, you can go through and manually test different models one by one, but a great place to get a start on this is going to the chatbot arena and just testing different models and seeing which ones for your use case and seeing them head to head, which one is going to be the best for your use case. So pretty big news that really flew under the radar from OpenAI, right? So releasing a pretty sizable update to its GPT-4o model. So I don't know if this is going to be as significant of an improvement as an example when we went from GPT-4 to GPT-4 Turbo, but it does seemingly look like it according to benchmarks. So yeah, a lot of people don't even know this because it's the same name, right? I think before, we saw it when we went from GPT 3.5 to GPT 4, or when we went from GPT 4 to GPT 4 Turbo, or when we went from GPT 4 Turbo to GPT 4o, right? I think everyone understood, oh, this is a new and improved model because it has a different name. So it seems to be a new strategy from OpenAI, maybe at least until we get a GPT 4.5 or a GPT 5, which I don't think is going to happen this year. But it seems like we're just going to be getting slightly improved and constant new updates under the hood without even knowing, right? So this is why I tell people when we advise companies, you always have to be testing on a consistent basis. If your company, whether you build on top of a company's API, whether you're using it in the interface of a chatbot, right? So whether you're going into Claude, going into Gemini, going into Grok, going into Mistral, whatever it is, you should be always testing your processes on an ongoing basis. Generative AI is something that can, in large language models, are something that can give you back so much time and can pay for themselves in seconds. But you have to constantly be understanding what's happening under the hood. You have to have a set of kind of baseline prompts that make sure that you and your team are properly understanding that the model is doing what it should. All right, y'all. A lot going on there. Let's quickly recap here, the 1-minute version. Ready? So Grok-2 has launched from Elon Musk's XAI company, scoring some pretty good benchmarks across the board, as well as debuting the Flux 1 AI image generator inside of Grok-2. Next, OpenAI researchers and others from Microsoft, Harvard, MIT, Oxford, etc., have introduced a new concept and proposed in a paper something called Personhood Credentials to combat online AI deception. In other words, a way to say whether something is a person or an AI, maybe mimicking a person. Next, World Labs has achieved unicorn status with a more than $1 billion valuation in just 4 months, with a recent $100 million funding round being led by former Stanford AI professor Fifi Lee, often referred to as the godmother of AI. Next, former President Donald Trump has continued to use AI in his campaign strategy, most recently posting some images on his Truth Social platform that appeared to show Taylor Swift approving Donald Trump, which is not the case. And then last but not least, Chat GPT and OpenAI have taken back the lead in AI chatbot rankings with their newest update to the GPT 4.0 model. Uh, all right, y'all. That is a lot here happening, and it's nonstop, right? Because I guarantee you, when we have the AI news that matters next week, there's going to be just as many movements, just as much going on. I cannot emphasize enough how difficult it is to keep up with these developments every single day. Our team spends hours every single day going through the news, going through the latest tools, testing things out so you don't have to, right? So you can just take what we give you, take it to grow your company and to grow your career. We don't just push things from different companies. We test everything, break everything, and tell you what's real and what's not. And well, what's real is this show. It is unscripted, unedited. If this is helpful, please share this with your friends. If you're listening here on LinkedIn, it would mean a lot to our team here if you could repost this with your network. So everyone in your company or in your circle can keep up with what's real and what's not in artificial intelligence. Also, please go check out that Thanks a Million giveaway. Go sign up. It takes about 5 seconds to be entered to win, and then go refer your friends to win. We're going to have a lot more prizes that we'll be announcing soon, though. So thank you for tuning in for the AI news that matters. We'll see you tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.